Hello and good day. This is a video to update you in regards to the collapse of the Democratic Party. Now, the Democratic Party is sort of another name for socialism, communism in this country, America, and for the world globally, because what we are experiencing with the Democratic Party is going on in every single country on this planet. But this video is focusing just on the collapse of socialism, communism / the Democratic Socialist Party here in America. And this is an update to the predictions I posted in June of 2019 and January 2020 regarding the collapse of the Democratic Party. So hi there, this is JJ from paranormaltalks.com. If you wish to know more about Paranormal Talks, here is our website, paranormaltalks.com. You can just scroll through that and what we're about. We are educational. If you want to know more about me, just click on About Us and scroll down. There should be JJ Wells, and you can learn more about me and how I love these predictions. Now, I'll continue to post videos that update you on the predictions that I posted in June of 2019 and January 2020. Now, these predictions I have posted on the Paranormal Talks YouTube channel are pulled from 6 different sources having high rates of accuracy. And when I say accuracy, I mean 80 to 90% accuracy. That is, these sources have very long track records of accuracy in hitting their predictions. And these sources span decades and centuries because what good is a prediction unless it's accurate, right? I mean, who cares unless it's accurate? As far as predictions, we want them as precise as possible, don't we? I mean, that's why we go after predictions. They help us plan our lives so things don't surprise us so much and catch us unaware and make us go bankrupt and that sort of thing. So what I'll do here is I'll reference the previous video I posted in June of 2019 about the collapse of the Socialist Party, the Democratic Party. And this is one of those. Here's the title, Collapse of the Democratic Party, and it is happening right on time. I wanted to reference, this is a cheat sheet here, but here I just wanted to get to the summary, and this is pulled from the Martin Armstrong website, and this is generated from the Socrates computer system. And that computer system shows us trends in all types of things, economies and business and politics and sports and geotectonic changes and weather, etc. But this video is just about politics and about the collapse of the Democratic Party, that is the collapse of socialism, communism in this country. So that is these dates are precise, and Martin Armstrong's quantum computer system, Socrates, has a chart that's generated. It has an 8.6-year cycle, 8.6-year wave in that economic model. And it indicates that the year 2015 was the date exactly of the beginning of the collapse of the Democratic Party. Some of us may not have noticed it. Some of us may have seen it, but not known really what it was. I'm going to stop sharing this and go back to the graph. Let's look at this. Okay. Let's look at this. Just to give you a baseline, this is a graph that the Socrates computer system generates. I'll get back to the year 2015 and the collapse of the Democratic Party, but I want to show you how accurate it is by pointing out to you this graph, which was generated back in 1998, and you can see it goes up and then it changes direction and it comes down, and then it changes direction and it comes up and then it goes down, up and down. It is a cycle. This is scientists, we call it sine waves. But this data, I just want to point out how exact and precise it is, because we like precision in our predictions, do we not? And the Socrates quantum computer system is very accurate and precise. September 11th, 2001, it shows a phase transition, a change in trend, a change in the cycle. And every time there is a change, here and here and here, there is a crisis. In this case, this is an economic model. It's not a political model. It's not a business model. It is economics specifically. And we had an economic crisis September 11th in the year 2001 with the implosion of the Twin Towers in New York, as well as the other buildings surrounding it. That was an economic crisis. We didn't know it at the time. We thought it was something else, but it was definitely an economic crisis. And the takedown and implosion of those buildings was what it looks like with an economic collapse. And we saw that. Let me show you the big picture. Now, this graph that I just showed you, that fits within this big picture, and this big picture shows these patterns here: a private pattern and a public pattern. The public pattern is government. This is a government cycle. Private, this is private commercial companies, private individuals, private small businesses. And within this pattern, you can see that each one of these patterns contains 6 cycles: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And when it finishes up with the 6th cycle within this whole pattern, there's a big blowout and we have a collapse in the economy, and it looks like deflation. Some of you who are older, in 1981, you probably remember the big blowout in our economy at that time, as well as on Wall Street, but us little people experienced it as layoffs and hiring freezes and real employment problems in 1981. And then it started a new cycle. Anyway, where we are right now in regards to this conversation is the collapse of the Democratic Party that began in 2015.75. 2015.75. And that was a crisis period. And that Democratic Party will continue to collapse. I will refer to other websites that illustrate it, but I want to give you an overview of what this looks like. Let's drill down now to the smaller chart from the Socrates computer system. Let's make it big. Okay, here it is. Exactly October 1st of 2015 is the beginning of the collapse of the Democratic Party. Now, this is global. These crises happen to all countries in different ways. Now, on this date, October 1st of 2015, Russia experienced a crisis as well. This is when Russia entered Syria to conduct a proxy war against the United States and other countries on this day. And of course, Syria, they experience it as a crisis also by with Russia running to the rescue on October 1st of 2015. And it was an economic crisis for all of them. And we've had other crises. Okay, we'll make that small. Now let's look at some of the websites. This is the one I wanted to refer to. This is the one posted in February of 2020, the collapse of the Democratic Party, which is socialism. That's what the collapse of the Democratic Party is part of, is the collapse of socialism, communism in America. This is what it looks like. It's not pretty, but it's happening right on time. Astrologically and particularly with the Socrates quantum computer system. So I just wanted to point out the summary in this video is October of 2015. In that big picture, it showed it to be the fourth minor wave in that big private pattern, which is equal to 1912. And you can scroll up. You can take a look at this and see what 1912 is. The beginning of socialism began in this country, in America, in 1912, thanks to Teddy Roosevelt. So that is reference for you. Let's make that go away. Now let's look at what it looks like as the Democratic Party collapses. Now this is the Armstrong Economics website, armstrongeconomics.com. This is his blog. This is his blog. He has a lot of blog articles posted. Let's back up here. Nope, let's not. Okay, Bernie's victory inspires a panic next week. Now, Armstrong Economics, they take care of clients around the world. And I'm talking institutions, not individuals, but institutions who invest. So, and because of his view, his perception, his ability to see across the whole world, he sees and hears things that you and I do not in our little town, in our little city, in our little state, in our little country, so to speak. We just don't see and hear these things because we're not dealing with billions of dollars of investment capital that's moving around, running around the world as Armstrong Economics does. So let's dig into this because Martin Armstrong has a view that many of us do not, and he's honest enough to tell us, unlike other Wall Street investors. So let me read this to you just to let everyone know. This is Martin talking to us. Since more than 50% of Armstrong Economics clients are outside the United States, we have a very international reach with sources around the globe. That is, he hears a lot of things that you and I and Wall Street and our regular sources of news, quote, news, unquote, or fake news, does not tell us. It's not their job to tell us. It has never been their job to tell us, but Martin Armstrong, it is his job to tell us. So he hears things from around the world. So Mr. Armstrong says, get prepared for volatility next week. That is volatility in your investments, in equities, in your Wall Street investments. Despite the Democrats' personal hatred of Trump, the international view is that Trump is the only sane leader in the world right now. You see, outside of this country, people are not as inundated and brainwashed about the current presidential administration. They just aren't. They probably think we are insane because we are so brainwashed. It's a shame. The world is leaning so far to the left. And when Mr. Armstrong says to the left, he means socialism, communism. So the world is leaning so far to the left, socialism, communism, everywhere. Capital is deeply concerned about where to hide. Because communism, socialism, we saw what it did to Venezuela, we saw what it did to Puerto Rico, we saw what it has done to Russia. Is communism, that is left, progressivism, socialism, communism, it turns your city, your town, your state, your country into a shithole. So the number one question we are getting from overseas, from his big institutional investors with billions of dollars, is what if Bernie beats Trump? Because Bernie is a communist, and the communists are what turn your town into a shithole. So they're afraid about that. Let's just scroll down to the summary. So what Mr. Armstrong says is that they are looking at the split of the Democrats, that is the Democrat parties. For the elites are not about to accept Bernie, the communist, and they will lose the financial support of both the corporates and the 1% because money does not like shitholes. It does not increase their cash flow and keep their cash flow big. Shitholes do not do that. So the rumblings are to draft Hillary. That will most likely be the straw that breaks the back of the Democratic Party. Now, just last week, Hillary was asked the question as far as getting back into the race, or who she would speak up for as far as who candidates running in the Democratic Party for the 2020 presidential slot. And she said that she would allow the voters to decide that. Well, yeah, right. Anyway, meanwhile, brace yourself for wild markets next week. Mr. Armstrong has a number of typos in his blog, but who cares? Meanwhile, brace yourself for wild markets next week. We may begin to see European and Asian liquidation of equities. That is, the Europeans and the Asians are selling their company stocks big time in fear of the 2020 election. That's what money does on this planet. It runs around and it finds the most juicy place to go to increase itself. And socialist, communist countries don't provide that for them. So the equity is running around the world because America is the biggest cash flow generator for them. They're very nervous about the 2020 election. So we'll see what happens. Let's look at this next article. Now, this is what's going on with the Democrats. This is an article from February 20th. That's Thursday last week of 2020. Who won, lost the Democratic debate in Nevada. And you can see Bloomberg and Warren there and some blah, blah, blah. And this article's opinion about that. This is from NBC. Next, this is an update. Now, this is February 29th. This is Saturday, February 29th. Fast forward. Now, things are collapsing for Elizabeth. She's in danger of losing the primary in her very own backyard, the state of Massachusetts. Bummer. Okay. Next, Joe Biden. He is becoming a big winner here. Joe Biden wins South Carolina primary. Trump says end of Bloomberg's joke campaign. So Joe was looking pretty good right now, but things can turn on a dime. Okay. And this is from Zero Hedge. I don't know where the logo is. Anyway, it is zerohedge.com. Okay. Next, Tom. Good old Tom. Tom Steyer. This is February 29th, Saturday, February 29th. Tom ends his 2020 presidential campaign. He's gone away. And what trounces all of these, unbeknownst to us, maybe we have not noticed it, is, I don't know if you can hear this, but I'm going to play it so you can read the words here. Is Trump overrules Feinstein. He flips, this is key, he flips the liberal, which is the socialist communist Ninth Circuit Court, which has rulership, quote, rulership, unquote, over decisions in California, which is an extremely socialist communist state right now. So he flips that Ninth Circuit Court to majority conservative judges. Oh my gosh, there's going to be huge different. Okay, so this is another sign. This is more significant than just these candidates coming and going and winning and losing, what have you, is this Ninth Circuit Court is another nail in the coffin of the collapse of the Democratic Party. Is after changes are already dooming the Democrats in a few cases because of this flipping, because of the majority of conservative judges now being on that Ninth Circuit Court. Now, without this court to give liberal rulings, the socialists' power will continue to wane in America. And this is going to happen for generations. So good. I wanted to wrap it up with this. After looking through the minutia and showing you the minutia of what's going on with the Democrats and who's going to come out as the candidate for the 2020 elections of the Democrats, this is far, far more important in that this is how the Democratic Party collapses and goes away. It just really becomes a non-entity. So that's the update for this prediction. And this began in October 1 of 2015, and it is in play, and it won't finish until it is done, until the Democratic Party is done. So gird your loins. We are in for a wild ride, and it's probably more excitement than you may have wanted. But that's the update from me, JJ from Paranormal Talks. We'll be coming to you with other updates later on. See you later. Bye.